When discussing the best player in the world, the quote-unquote king of the NBA, I think there's 3 players currently who have a great case to wear that crown as the best. The first guy would be Giannis, a great two-way player, offensive defensive force, Luka Doncic, a great clutch time player, amazing passer and scorer, and then of course Nikola Jokic, who in my view is the best case of wearing that crown. And looking at Jokic the past 4 years, not just 3 MVPs, but also 1 NBA championship. And unlike a lot of his superstar peers, this guy is a model of consistency, as during that stretch has missed a total of 24 games. Whereas someone like Joel Embiid tends to miss 24 games before we hit the All-Star break in a given season.
Boom. Roasted.
Now, on top of being consistent and reliable, the Joker also has the uncanny ability to uplift teammates, make average players look great, and subpar players look competent and steady. For instance, someone like Bruce Brown in Denver looked phenomenal and amazing and actually deserving of a $20 million contract, which of course he did get. Now, Bruce Brown out of Denver, what happened? This guy in Indiana didn't last 40 games before being traded. Look at someone like Aaron Gordon, who in Orlando was kind of a cast-off disappointment, but in Denver, a vital piece to their championship. And in his second full year with Denver, what did he do? Career best in field goal percentage, 2-point percentage, effective field goal percentage, and true shooting percentage. Aaron Gordon pulling a 180 on his career, going from just a dunker to a borderline all-star, is in large part due to Nikola Jokic.
Oh, don't mention it. You owe me one. You all owe me one.
Looking at Denver's roster the past couple of years, there's tons of guys who come into Denver being cast-offs, below average NBA players, but in Denver, they're household names and legit NBA players. And if you want to talk superstar supporting cast having a super team, the Joker's entire career has not once had an all-star teammate. The closest he's gotten is Jamal Murray. And look, Jamal has his moments, has his games, where he looks fantastic. But in terms of being a legit all-star, even a superstar, Jamal Murray isn't that. And really for every other superstar in the NBA, every other top 10 player, they have at least one sidekick who's an all-star or a fringe top 20, top 15 player. As of course Giannis in Milwaukee, he's had a Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, and now Dame Lillard. Luka in Dallas, he's had Porzingis in the past, Brunson in the past, but now has Kyrie Irving. Joel Embiid, a lengthy list of superstar help, from Ben Simmons and Butler to Harden and Maxey, and now Paul George. My point being, every other superstar top 10 player kinda has their guy, their sidekick, who also is an all-star and a legit superstar player. The one guy who doesn't have that is of course Nikola Jokic. And my biggest problem with Jamal Murray, he's always either hurt, banged up, limping, or out of the lineup entirely, as in the past 4 years has missed 146 games, only playing 172. And here's the kicker. Minus Jamal Murray, Denver still is a fringe 50-win team with a win percentage of 59.5%. Now compare that to Denver minus Joker over the past 4 years. They were a fringe 30-win team with a win percentage of 37.5%, which is absolutely abysmal.
I made you. Without me, you're nothing.
If you give the Joker one competent teammate a semi-all-star 20 points per game, you're going to be a very, very competitive team. Case in point, look at Serbia versus USA in this year's Olympics. The talent gap in both these teams, it is a Grand Canyon-sized gap. And despite that, the Joker, when he's on the floor versus USA, they were a dead even score, 81-81. Off the floor, it's 29-3 in USA's favor. I want you guys to understand how impressive that is. If you give Jokic, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Nikola Jovic, a role player and a solid NBA player, they are dead even with USA, who has 12 legit all-stars. And when it comes to the best player in the Olympics, it's either Giannis or Jokic, as the Joker ranks 9th in scoring, 1st in boards, 6th in assists, and 1st in overall efficiency. Out of the entire pool play, the Joker is the only player top 10 in points, rebounds, and assists for the entire tournament. Not just one of the best full raisers of all time, but one of the best all-around players the game has ever seen. And if you want to talk overall value raising teammates up, look at last year's playoffs. Denver in the postseason with Jokic on the floor had an offensive rating of 114.3. Among second-round teams, that would be top 5. Now Denver with Jokic off the floor, that offensive rating dropped by 25 points to 89.1. That rating with Jokic off the floor, it will rank dead last behind Cleveland as the worst offense out of the second-round teams. And here's the kicker. Cleveland's offensive rating still was 16 points higher than Denver without Jokic. Now looking at effective field goal percentage, Jokic on the floor Denver shot 54%, which is top 3 among playoff teams. Now the Joker off the floor dropped by 14 points, then a 40.3. That percentage right there ranked dead last among playoff teams, 10% less than Oklahoma City. Long story short, Denver minus Jokic, they're incompetent, they can't shoot, and have no offensive flow. And what some critics might say is that Jokic, well, that doesn't show overall value, it shows the Joker. He's too ball dominant, too much at the center of Denver's offense and what they do. And that's a semi-good point, but here's my response. The Joker as an offensive player doesn't need the ball to be successful. As much like a Kevin Durant, he fits seamlessly in any offense, any lineup, and can play with any player on any given night. Case in point, this year's playoffs. In terms of overall touches among players who played at least 20 minutes per game, there were 102 qualifiers. Jokic in touches ranked first at 113.8. Now to add some context, seconds per touch the Joker ranked 46th at 3.1 seconds per touch. Out of the Joker's own teammates, he ranks 3rd behind Aaron Gordon, who was 45th, and Jamal Murray, who was 11th. This right here once again proves the Joker is one of the rare superstars in NBA history who can play off-ball and doesn't need the ball to be successful or impactful. As a majority of stars today, like an SGA, a Jalen Brunson, a James Harden, a Luka, they need the ball 24/7 to operate and do their thing. The Joker, that's not how he dominates. And using just pure common sense, when the ball's moving, players are touching the ball, the offense isn't stagnant. It makes them much harder to guard, it makes those role players much more comfortable in their role. As a lot of NBA teams, what do role players do? Just go in the corner, shoot threes, touch the ball once, maybe twice, every couple of minutes. On the Nuggets, that's not how they roll and how they dominate. And one last thing I do want to hit on is why Jokic is the best player in the world. It's how reliable, how steady and consistent he is in the postseason. As looking at since 2021, he won his first MVP. He's been downright dominant in the postseason, averaging 29.7 points per game, that ranks 4th, 13.0 boards, that ranks 2nd, 7.9 assists, that ranks 5th, on 54-37 and 84 splits. Out of the entire NBA the last 4 years, Jokic is the only player to be top 5 in points, rebounds, and assists during that stretch. And unlike a lot of superstars during this stretch, the Joker hasn't had a major series dud or failure from an individual perspective, as during this stretch, his lowest scoring playoff series came versus Phoenix in 2021 at 25.0 points per game. His lowest field goal percentage, also that same series, at 47.7%. Those numbers for Jokic standards, they're a little bit below average, but for really any other superstar during this stretch, that's considered a good series, if not a great series. And for some further context, in that series versus Phoenix, the eventual West champions, his top 5 players were as follows: Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, Monte Morris, and Campazzo. The one guy who wasn't playing, wasn't healthy, was of course Jamal Murray, his quote-unquote all-star sidekick. Like I've said time and time again, when it comes to being the best player in the world, you gotta be consistent, reliable, and available for your team on a nightly basis. And the Joker at this point checks all those boxes more so than any player in the NBA. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.